Assalamu alaikum everyone. Inshallah we'll start. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli waj'alni waziran min ahli Haruna akhi washdud bihi azri washkur fi amri kay nusabbihaka kaseera wa nazkuraka kaseera innaka kunta bina basira. اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آل صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد وبارك وسلم وصلي عليه الحمد لله رب العالمين. All right, inshallah. So we are gonna continue from the race, and we are reading the Shining Proof, the second station. We had a wonderful discussion last week when we started off this paragraph about the seventh and eighth evidence and the specified appointed hour of death and fixed regular sustenance. And we kind of reviewed a little bit about the verses in the Quran that kind of seem a little problematic to begin with, such as God is the witness of himself and God is the light of the heavens and the earth. And we saw that all the messages, everything that we are experiencing in the universe, it is God that is speaking to us. So whatever the air we're breathing, God is the cause of that. We understand all those things, what we're eating. Although somebody may have prepared it, I may have prepared it, my mom might have prepared it, but they are all the means, and actually is realizing that the one who owns the whole universe, the one who owns my hunger, the one who owns my satisfaction, is the one who is feeding me. And there was an example we went over, which the paragraph also spoke about how the milk and that infants are get from their moms. That was a profound example. We elaborated on that. So I guess let's just reread the paragraph and then we can continue on with the next one. And if there's any comments or points anybody would like to make, please jump in, write in anytime. So Bismillah, the seventh and eighth evidences and the specified appointed hour of death and fixed regular sustenance. Superficially, the appointed hour and sustenance appear to be unknown and unspecified. But for an important instance of wisdom, under the veil of vagueness, the appointed hour is determined. The appointed hour is determined and specified on the page of every living being's destiny in the notebook of pre-eternal divine decree and determining. It can be neither brought forward nor delayed. There are numerous evidences that the sustenance of every living being is also appointed and determined and inscribed on the tablets of decree and determining. Numerous evidences that the sustenance of every living being has been appointed and determined, is appointed and determined and inscribed on the tablets of decree and determining. For example, a huge tree leaving behind when it dies its seed, which is its spirit of a sort. So the seed is the spirit of a sort to continue its duties in its place, to continue the tree's duty. The seed will take over and continue those duties. And thus occurring through the wise law. So this is occurring through the wise law of an all-knowing preserver. The wise law of an all-knowing preserver. So one question I would ask is, what is the all-knowing preserver? How do we experience that? So every being, like the example of the tree is given, or it might be an infant, and the grandparents, parents, they pass away, and then the child grows up and continues the life. So just like the seed, the tree dies and the seed continues, shows the signs of that there is preservation that is happening. Preservation of what? All the qualities that I'm experiencing. Preservation of. So one thing we can elaborate on, and I would like to hear your comments. So, and milk, the sustenance of infants and young, flowing forth from breasts and is appearing from between blood and excrement, and pouring into their mouths pure and clean without being polluted. Reject decisively the possibility of chance and shows clearly that they occur through the compassionate law of an all-knowing and compassionate provider. So all the sustenance that is coming has been determined and comes through the compassionate law of an all-knowing and compassionate provider. You can make an analogy with these two small examples for all living creatures and beings with spirits. So here in this first paragraph, as we are discussing this, the specified appointed hour of death and fixed is specified and fixed, and regular sustenance is all coming through the one, the owner of the universe, who is always communicating and speaking to us. We just have to be on that frequency, if I may say so, to be listening and recognizing him, realizing that there is always constant communication that is happening. I mean, the sun doesn't know me, the clouds don't know me, but through those things, somebody else is communicating and talking to me. So would anybody like to comment on any of these in this first paragraph before we move on to the next one? Do you have anything here? No, nobody has anything? Okay. Yeah, going back to the wise law. So would anybody like to comment on this? Everything being preserved. So even our, whatever we are doing, everything, there is preservation going on. Everything is, as we understand, we've been discussing. Yeah, your memory is given. Thank you, Fariha, for saying that. It's a sign of the all-knowing preserver. If you can recall things, right? Yeah, your computers, laptops, you can store things and they are preserved. And it points to an absolute, like the preservation also points to the knowledge aspect. So Brother Ali, your hand is up, please go ahead.
I think the example, the text gives the seed example, which is its spirit of a sort. I mean, not exactly like human spirit, but we can liken it to human spirit, which is the seed of the tree. Now, the spirit, the seed, it's kind of a spirit. It is preserved. Everything is written there, recorded, preserved. So it means that the one who preserves it knows the previous tree and knows the tree which is going to be created out of the seed. So in the example of the seed, we can easily see that the universe's order is perfectly arranged in a wise way, not randomly, not confusing, in a very wise way that demonstrates that the Creator must know. How do we know that? Because it preserves everything from the past and demonstrating what is going to be created in the future. This law of order in the creation, it's a very wise law of order, demonstrates that the Creator is an all-knowing and preserver. That's what I understood in the example of this seed, and also in the example of the milk. For example, the milk example, especially in the mother's milk, not only human, but also animals, those are created to produce milk for their babies. Before the baby is born, the body of the mother is prepared in such a way that the Creator of mother and the baby knows what is going to be created, accordingly wisely preserves the body, prepares the body, and it is when the baby is born, it starts functioning. Not before the baby is born. It's a perfect, wise arrangement. It is obvious that the one who creates the baby and the mother is a knowing one. So we understand now that the cells of the body, preserves everything written there. Of course, this is, as you pointed out, this milk is the compassionate law of all-knowing and compassionate provider. It means the provider is a very compassionate, and that provider knows, that are all-knowing one. All these examples in the creation demonstrates that the order of the universe is arranged in such a way that everything is fixed and everything is known by its creator. So look for a creator in order to explain this universe, what is going on in this universe. Look at what is created out there and come to a conclusion. If you can say that unconscious matter can be the source of all these activities. It's a perfect example. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah, thank you for warming us up, Brother Ali. It's incredible, actually. If we live by this, we can all live very comfortably. That there is someone who is taking care of us with all these compassionate, wise laws. Okay, so let's continue. This means that in reality, both the appointed hour of death is specified and determined, and each person's sustenance has been determined and recorded in the notebook of his destiny. Yeah, guys, don't worry about your sustenance or whatever Your death is coming. Everything is being handled by the one who owns your being. But for most important instances of wisdom, for most important instances of wisdom, both the appointed hour and sustenance are concealed behind the veil of the unseen and appear to be vague. There are two to be's, unspecified and apparently bound to coincidence. For most important instance of wisdom, both the appointed hour. So this is the most important instances of wisdom, that the dead are concealed behind the veil of the unseen and appear to be vague, unspecified, and apparently bound to coincidence. For if the appointed hour had been specified, like the setting of the sun, for if the appointed hour had been specified like the setting of the sun, the first half of life would be passed in absolute heedlessness. Ooh la la. That's right. And be lost by not working for the hereafter. And the second half would be passed in ghastly terror, as one was as though every day taking one more step towards the gallows of death, exacerbating the calamity of death 100-fold, for which reason the calamities one suffers, and the resurrection of the dead, which is the world's appointed hour of death, have mercifully been left in concealment in the unseen. So the appointed hour of death is one of those extremely wise instances of wisdom. I think, is this coming? I think there's like that hadith or also which specifies or mentions about the unknown things. There are a few things, four or five things. Right. Rain being one of them, what's in the womb, and I guess death. So I guess we can understand that if why it's left the wisdom behind it. I mean, if we had known, just like the way the sunrise and the sunset, when something we get accustomed to and we're used to, we will organize our lives accordingly. That's what we do right now based on the days and nights that are given to us. Brother Ali, you want to say something?
I mean, how do you say it? The time when the prayers are accepted, and of course the death of the universe is also unknown, but it is very, very interesting as well. Everything is interesting, but this point is interesting as well. The acceptance of the time of the prayer is also concealed. That's a very wise way of creating, actually.
That's interesting. The acceptance of the time of prayer is also one of the concealed, which is also an instance of wisdom. Because if everybody will be just jumped to it, that hey, this is the time, so just go for it, and then pass the rest of the time in heedlessness or not worry about it. Yeah, so Faria is saying, so if we do it that way, then it would not become a genuine supplication because we are just taking advantage of something that the opportune moment or timing. So that is why there's it's one of those important things, and it needs, wisdom tells us that it should be concealed and one should seek for it. That's why everybody can be conscious and aware, and as much as they can to recognize that they're being taken care of. Thank you. Anybody else would like to comment anything? That is what the 27th night of Ramadan has become, Suhail. Yeah, that's correct. Like the Laylatul Qadr time, we don't know exactly. There's wisdom in that too. That's why just everybody is encouraged to seek all the nights. All right, so let's continue on. As for sustenance, since after life itself it is the greatest treasury of bounties and the richest source of thanks and praise. So sustenance after life itself, it is the greatest treasury of bounties. Sustenance and the richest source of thanks and praise, because we keep receiving that either in the form of food, air, companionship, you name it, you know, plants, trees, whatever, sustenance keeps coming. And yeah, and the most comprehensive mind of worship, supplication, and entreaty. It has apparently been left vague and shown to be tied to chance. Unfortunately, yeah, in the civilization, all the sustenance, you know, whatever we're enjoying our lives with is just, oh yeah, because of the familiarity, we just don't recognize the sunlight is a sustenance, the air we're breathing is a sustenance, water, food, everything. For in this way, the door of seeking sustenance through the intercession of continuously seeking refuge at the divine court. For in this way, the door of seeking sustenance through the intercession of continuously seeking refuge at the divine court and pleading and beseeching and praise and thanks is not closed. So as for sustenance, since afterlife, okay, is the most richest and the most comprehensive mind of worship entry, it has apparently been left vague and shown to be tied to chance. For in this way, the door of seeking sustenance through the intercession of continuously seeking refuge at the divine court and pleading and beseeching and praise and thanks is not closed. For if it had been clearly specified, its nature would have been altogether changed. The doors of thankful, grateful supplications and entreaties, indeed of humble worship, would have been closed. So going on to the point, as the earlier paragraph was made and Brother Ali pointing out about the time of supplications and entreaties, is another sign of or instance of wisdom, that it is open and anytime one can go and knock at the door. That is open, it's not like something that closes. But continuously sustenance is being given, and we just need to recognize it and come to our reality by acknowledging it and glorifying and praising the one who is taking care of us. All right. So any comments by anyone, please go ahead. Yes, Brother Lee, go ahead.
It is interesting, actually, the human nature, the way we are created, is arranged in such a way that if we receive any favor, we are lean to thank for it. We are given the quality or tendency to think for it. That's what we are created for. So actually, belief in God itself is important, yeah, but not enough. Why? I believe in God. Okay. What does it mean? What should I do with it? What necessitates afterward? What we have to concentrate on ourselves. What is my position in this world? I have a sense of gratitude. I have a sense of thankfulness. I have a sense of responding back to anything happens to me. If someone is nasty to me, harsh to me, I am not happy with it. My response is unhappiness. If something happens to me that or how I want it to be, I am always prone to thank for it, to be happy with it, for it. That is how I am created. This requires that belief in God is the first step to practice, to execute this nature of human being for me. Now, if the universe has a creator, I have to communicate with him and present my feelings to him. If there is no creator, now still I have to present my thankfulness, that is how I am, happiness, to what? To dump matter. That is our choice. But belief in God must be completed by communicating with him. It means worshiping him. That's what worship is. Responding back to the creator, to the one who is preparing everything for me, giving me existence and preparing everything what I need in this world, apart from my artificial expectations. It means acquired expectations, not the way I am created. For example, I look at the society and see that, oh, everybody has a car. I don't have a car. For example, complain. Why? By comparison. Everybody has something, married, have children, happy family life. I don't have it. Comparison. All these comparisons are really devastating our human nature. We should stop making comparisons. We have to be suffice with however we are created, but look for what we like. If it is given, it is given out of wisdom. If it is not given, we have to always keep praying rather than getting disappointed. So we have to keep praying. That is why the sustenance, the type of death is concealed. There are many other things, as mentioned before, is concealed. So that is a very important example given as an extra here. All the thanks and praise must be, these are the mind of worship. It means the core worship is presenting our thanks and prayers. For example, let's say I am a farmer. If I am absolutely sure the result, the harvest will realize. Order of the universe is like this. Come on, definitely will happen. What will happen? As soon as I do my farming, whatever the cultivation needs, the putting the seeds and preparing it, okay, guaranteed. What I will do now, wait for the creator as if He has to do it for me. Why? Because I know it is going to be created. Do I present my thanks, my praise? Do I present my worship, my supplication, my recognition of He is the one? I am going to communicate with Him. I need to communicate with Him. I have to respond back to Him. So my position is a created being. He is the creator. What I have to do now, I have to keep my position as a created worshiper, or the one who needs to respond back to the creator continuously in my life. I am not sure whether my cultivations will be really created as I want. Definitely. That is why I am left in suspension. I don't know. If God creates, if God gives me this, please God, I need it. Please God, create it for me, the harvest, whatever I want, I expect. That is fitting to the position of the worshiper. Otherwise, I will become very arrogant. I did my part. Now it is God's time has to do it now. The Creator's time to do it now. That's why one of the reasons for the people I feel who don't believe in God, doesn't want to submit to God, doesn't want to acknowledge their position before the Creator. What did they do? They ignore the Creator. They ignore the Creator and they say, nature. If it happens, happens. If it does not happen, but the order of the universe doesn't change. But the reality of life is not that. The order of the universe doesn't change, but you don't know many things, how they are going to be created. So what they want, by not believing in God, what do they want? They don't want to keep their position of a worshiper, the needy one, who wants to express his neediness to the one who provides everything for them. They ignore it. They say, that's it, I did it, and natural laws will work definitely for it. How arrogant they are by ignoring the fact that we are not sure about anything, almost about anything, what will happen to us tomorrow. That is why human beings need to guarantee everything. So perfect, no risk at all. It is impossible, but at the same time, we have to look for it, but we have to know that the wisdom in the order of the universe to be created in this way is in our favor, because it helps us to keep our worshiping relationship, supplications, prayers to the Creator, acknowledging our position before Him alive. That is called worship of God, or God's being the worshipped one, Ma'bud. And Abd-Ma'bud relationship keeps me conscious of who I am, who my Creator is. If I ignore this relationship, it means my responding back to my Creator, I become an arrogant person, and as if I have to do some things. Yes, I did, and now God has to do something for me. Then we are in equal terms. I will sow the seed. That is my duty. God will create the seed, definitely. That is His responsibility. What is the reality of human being? No, we are in equal terms now. That is why the people who are arrogant, don't want to acknowledge God because they don't want to be in a lower position before their creator. They say nature. Nature is what? Something like me, equal. I'm not going to submit myself to nature. No, we are equal. I have to do this, and the nature must do it because natural laws don't change. This is just cheating. We don't know what will happen. Everything is perfectly arranged, yes, correct, but in an unknown way that, in a concealed way that I have to keep my awareness of my position always. If I want something, that is very important. Human psychology works in this way, and it is essential to notice. If I want something, can I get it definitely? No. Although the order of the universe doesn't change, but I don't get it definitely. When I get on the car and say, I'm going to drive somewhere, can I guarantee it? No. But on the one hand, laws of the nature, principles of the order of the universe don't change. On the other hand, I cannot guarantee anything. This is a perfect arrangement in order to prepare the ground for us to keep our awareness before the creator, who I am, who my creator is. It means that is the source of acknowledgement of my reality, which is what I need to practice all the time. So if I want something, and if it is not given to me as I want it, what am I supposed to do? To get angry with the creation, to get angry with what is going on in this world, especially getting angry with what is happening in this world, ultimately means I am angry with the creator. And I want him to be in my service, not I am in his service. It means not I'm going to worship him. We are going to be equally in good terms. So if we are not happy what is given to us, that means we are claiming equal terms with God. He has to do it. I want this, he has to do it. That is a very devastating, I see in myself, especially in my relationship with the students who are disappointed with whatever is created for them. I see that, that is a very dangerous source of human destruction, unhappiness. That's the source of unhappiness. We cannot be happy in this world if we think that God has to do what I want. That is against human nature. That closes the door of supplication, which means practice of our worship of God. That is why whatever we want, it may not be given to us, but we have to be aware that this is only in my favor, because I have to keep making supplications, invocations to God, prayer to God. I need this, please God. I need this, please God. It is a beautiful humbleness. Humbleness is the source of success. The Quran says, Muflihun, Muflihun, Muflihun. Who are they? Believing and submitting themselves to him, worshipping him, and acknowledging that they are abd. Ibad, which is in the language of the Quran, Ya ibadi. It's beautiful. Oh my, they say it's slaves, but oh my creatures, oh the one I created with my own hand. Quran says this. خلقته بيدي or something. I have created this with my own hand. It means knowingly, consciously, wisely, mercifully, I created whatever is given to you. So what your position is to ask what you need from me, but don't think that I am going to be in equal terms with you. I am the creator, but a wise creator. I am keeping you in the position to keep your consciousness awakened so that you will always acknowledge your position as a needy creature. Always needs his or her creator to come to his or her help, aid. So the way of supplicating, way of praying keeps this consciousness awake. That is why the acceptance time of the prayer is concealed. So it is wisely creation. I shouldn't criticize the creator for not letting me know when he's going to accept my prayer. No, it is just a transgression of one's reality. That is very interesting to me. This concealment of the future, concealment of my ajal, my time of death, appointed time, concealment of who is accepted, who is not accepted, guaranteeing the paradise, all concealed, concealed, concealed. Why? It helps me to keep alive my consciousness of my position as a worshipper. I should never ever forget that I am an abd and I am created in such a way that I need a ma'bud. And my relationship between abd and ma'bud must be always alive. That is very important because I see in my life, if I want something to happen, if it doesn't happen, suddenly, out of the ignorance, out of negligence, I get disappointed. Ultimately means I get disappointed with God as if challenging God that, look, you didn't keep your promise. You have to do it. It is not a position of an abd they should take. Maybe I digressed a bit from the subject, but this extension of concealment took me to this way. Sorry.
Oh, Alhamdulillah, thank you for all the beautiful points you made. That was amazing, actually. Alhamdulillah. Okay, we would like to hear other voices if you guys want to chime in on what you've heard, any experiences that you can share. That would be great. I mean, everybody is toiling on this earth. Everybody's working in their own professions, doing something. So it's good to get tired of that. Because that's, I mean, basically the point is to be realizing that, you know, I mean, the farmer example, that everybody is doing something and expecting something as a result. But the thing is to realize that this, all the sustenance and whatever we are doing and is actually the opportunity for us. It's a mind of worship, supplication, and entity. So I have to be cognizant of my state, who I am, and Abd and Ma'bud, you know, the relationship that Brother Ali was highlighting. I mean, and not to get into the expectation of the result, that as if, you know, how the civilization kind of puts you into that place as if, you know, that's tied to chance, or, you know, your sustenance, as if they are the ones, or Mother Nature is providing the sustenance. So one has to be aware and conscious and recognize, provide the thanks and praise, which is beautiful in terms of how we don't know, and it's concealed in terms of all the opportunities. And I like the way the intercession of continuously seeking refuge in the divine court. This way, the door of seeking sustenance through the intercession of continuously seeking refuge at the divine court. That's what the human being is supposed to be like. I mean, as a created being, that's the reality, that's the truth of our being. We are all in need of being provided with sustenance. Do you want to come here? Your voice is not going to go there. I can translate it for you. Yeah, the acceptance of prayer is concealed. I mean, we don't know, right? So being accepted or not accepted should not be our worries, or I mean, we would like to, it's our desire. Yeah. That's why it's concealed. The statement of that the acceptance of prayer is concealed. I don't know. That's a good question. I think prayer is always accepted. As there was a section. I mean, it may not be according to what our expectation is. Maybe it's not good for us. Maybe something else is better for us. But I think our worry is to be who we are. Okay. So Faria has a question. So would anybody would like to comment on that?
I didn't get the question. I heard you speaking, but.
So Faria, your question is that the statement of the acceptance of the prayer is concealed is a wrong statement, you're saying? 100% wrong? Okay, so Faria's question is that a valid statement? Okay. So the acceptance word. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, supplication, acceptance. Isn't that what we've been talking about? So is the acceptance of supplication being concealed, is that a valid statement? So doing your work, laboring, that is a supplication. With the acceptance of it, so the harvest is the result. Harvest is not guaranteed. Yes. Yeah. So yeah. Okay, I think it's a vocabulary thing. Okay, let's listen to Brother Ali.
As far as I guess what is going on there, but I think my guess is acceptance of the supplications, prayers are also concealed. And what is the wisdom in it? Well, if it is a question, or if it is not a question, it is just a comment, then that's correct. It is concealed. What is the wisdom in it? I ask now myself after hearing you. And what is the wisdom in it? I have a very interesting experience, if you like. One of my students' brother, insisted his parents that they must buy a car for him. Eventually got it, and then became very arrogant. I got it, now car is mine. You know what happened? He thought his prayer is accepted and finished. As the expression says, humble worship closed, if you like. In this example, he had an accident. In the accident, unfortunately, I'm not happy with it, of course. He was burned to the extent that they couldn't even find any trace of his body, let alone his spirit. So we cannot guarantee, we shouldn't, we are created in such a way that my prayer is accepted, I'm going to be taken to paradise, that's it, I become very arrogant now. Not guaranteed. That's why the prophetic example is in front of us. Although in the Revelation, I don't read the Quran in this way, but the tradition reads it in this way. Let's follow what the traditional commentators say. Although in the Quran, in the Revelation, his all past and future sins are forgiven, guaranteed. What happened? Did he become arrogant? Did he guarantee and started living as he wants? Did he leave his humble position of worshipping, supplicating? Never. That was the very puzzling things for the companions, even for his family members. They said, look, you are really becoming even more and more humble worshiper in your supplications, in your prayers, although you are guaranteed that you are forgiven for everything you did, wrong or right, guaranteed, forgiven. He said, it's a very famous phrase he used, can I not be a thankful worshiper, Abd? Thankful worshiper, because you accepted my prayer. Still, even the prayer is accepted, still he was in the position of constant worship, constant prayer. That is the example we have to take for ourselves. So, whether our expectations, our prayers are accepted or not, our position should never change at all. I am a created being. My Creator is continuously being gracious to me and being nice to me. So I have to keep worshiping and praying, supplicating Him. That is whether my prayer is accepted or not doesn't matter. My position wouldn't change anyways. So I have to keep praying and worshipful attitude. I should never forget about my position. Keep worshiping and being humble worshiper of Him in this world. That is very important, humble worship. I like this expression here. If it wasn't concealed that our prayers are accepted or not, if it was openly guaranteed, the humble worship would have been closed. It means arrogance will take place. So thank God that He really concealed everything to do with future and my reality, my position. That is what I need. The way I am created definitely needs it.
Alhamdulillah, thank you. That I think clarified the point. I think we are at time here, so we'll conclude here, inshallah. So next week we can continue on with the 9th and 10th evidences. All right, so if any final comments by anyone, please go right ahead. But Alhamdulillah, this was really good. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi